Motor finance discretionary commission arrangements. Let's get some perspective. In January 2021, the FCA banned discretionary commission arrangements, also known as DCAs. The ban drove a spike in both complaints and DSARs relating to historic DCAs, with the majority rejected by firms. This raised significant concern with the FCA, who on the 11th of January this year announced its intention to review past agreements to see if there was widespread misconduct and if customers have suffered harm as a result. But what does this mean for firms? Here are 3 key actions that we're advising firms to take right now, with one bonus pointer at the end for those who stick around. Number 1, respond to the spike. Whilst the industry has seen an increase in complaints and DSAR volumes, we expect a significant proportion will not require redress, because we anticipate a high degree of scatter from consumers and CMCs making complaints without really understanding eligibility. Nevertheless, we advise that a well-defined and optimised process will help ensure you have sufficient operational capacity to respond to these complaints in line with dispute resolution timescales. Whilst the deadline for providing final responses has been extended, acknowledging receipt of a complaint and responding to DSARs remains a key requirement. Most importantly, make sure you have the controls and data platforms to capture where and when a complaint has been made, to save time and effort for yourself and the customer downstream. Finally, don't underestimate the operational time drain in responding to DSARs. Consider additional interim support or transcription platforms to help meet the new demand. Number 2, assess your exposure. Create an analytical view of exposure across your backbook and understand where, when, and in what size you have created risk. This could go back to 2007, so model out your full exposure for each year. Create risk-based cohorts. Think of this as segmentation of the entire population based on risk. It will most likely be based on value, but equally factor in where you have customers who have vulnerability or where you have taken recovery actions against particular groups. This will help you respond better, more sensitively, and more efficiently later in the year. You can then cross-reference your cohorts with other risk populations, including customers in arrears, shortfall, or recoveries. And whilst we don't have the clarity from the FCA, it's likely that set-off will be an option, and this cross-reference will help you model your true exposure. And finally, number 3, plan your scenarios. If the FCA decide that this should be an industry-led, mass-scale proactive redress scheme, then think about how you will execute it. Who will lead it? How will you operationalise it? How robust are your contact records? What channels do you have available? And can you automate? On the other hand, if it's consumer-led, what platforms do you have to manage cases? How equipped are your operational teams to respond? What contingency plans do you have? And how effective are your remediation processes and controls? Planning is the key here, and when the FCA publishes their findings, unlike the creeping death of PPI, this one is likely to go hard and fast. Right, now for the bonus tips for those who stuck around. Number 4, don't panic. Despite every consultancy and resource provider posting content urging you to sign up with them now, let's maintain some focus. The industry is experienced in delivering remediation programs like this, even at this scale. And the FCA have not reached their conclusions and decisions yet. Therefore, lenders and brokers also don't need to reach decisions yet in terms of resolution. The other thing to say is that when we know more, there are excellent in-house and external support teams available. So the message is not to panic. If you are looking to engage support, our message is to engage the right partners. Look wider than the large firms. You'll pay significantly more to engage those large firms, and their logo no longer provides the protection it once did. Several expert teams are operating within more specialist consultancies, practitioner-led teams who have the hands-on experience required in leading programs like this operationally. Carefully consider your resource plans. We're aware that some of the larger firms are looking offshore to deliver their remediation programs. This has its advantages and limitations. Ensure the resourcing decisions you make de-risk the situation and not exacerbate it. We've seen so many examples of individuals who've come to work with us following programs with reputable firms who simply do not pass our vetting, and we've seen deep threads of plagiarised CVs which have escaped the attention of many of these firms. Our message: find and use reputable, trusted and credible sources. One last thing on resourcing: consider scalability. Invariably, a proportion of claims are going to turn into complex claims requiring a more forensic view and dispute resolution. Avoid the trap of thinking that these will all be short, sharp and straightforward. So construct your resource plans accordingly. Right, that's it. I'm going to wrap things up with one final message from MapRoom's Andy Phillips, who had a really important point to share in one of our internal briefings this week.
For me, the thing that's really important is when we're dealing with complex claims is not to just solely focus on one activity. The regulator is not going to be forgiving for any firm who stops critical activities across all three lines of defence simply to focus on this one.
Okay, thanks for watching. If you haven't made notes and you want a written breakdown with a bit more information, comment Motor Finance below or drop us a direct message. And if you need further support, please reach out to us here at MapRoom.